Hello, everyone. Lisa Lee here with,
Kendra Lee.
and we are here tonight for a little bit of news. What's going on over there, Kendra?
Well, I was outside minding my business, just getting my mail, and one of my neighbors was having some significant stress going on. And I kind of heard the baby crying and little kid kind of whining and was thinking, well, it's dinner time, it's late, whatever. Then I see a woman yelling and there's starting to be a commotion. So I go from my mailbox towards my neighbors and I kind of look over there like what's happening. And there's a baby in distress. He had been, he's about 6 months old, I believe, somewhere right around there.
Wow.
And it's pretty cold out and the front door's like wide open and dad's outside holding him and there's a woman yelling at them about go to the doctor or take him to the doctor or something about that. And he kind of looks over at me and I'm just like peeking over going, what's happening here? And the baby had swallowed something that they shouldn't have.
Oh,
and
no.
Now that the baby's crying, I'm just in my mind going, well, he's breathing, he's crying, so he's okay there. And I'm just watching, and this woman, I don't know if she's another one of our neighbors or not, because we do live in some townhomes, and it's a different building. It's the building across from me. I don't know if this lady was neighbor or what at that time, and she kind of walks away, but she was being very stern and very upset, and the dad was somewhat calling back towards her like he thought they were still engaged in conversation, but I guess she thought not. And I'm going, now that's odd. Why is she seems upset? But meanwhile, this baby's carrying on. He sees me and he goes, come here. And I'm like, go right over there. Like something's obviously wrong. Other people are trying to open their doors and kind of just look and see what's happening. And he is like, I think I need help. At this point, he's holding the baby. I can hear the baby like is struggling to breathe, but can breathe. There's like rattling going on. And
has anybody called 911 yet?
No. And I said, is he sick? Like, I don't at this point quite know what's really gone on. Right. And he says, no, he's just had a little bit of a cold. We were at the doctor's earlier, and I said, okay. And now English is the second language for this family. And so, but he speaks English perfectly well, but you can see where he's trying to find the words sometimes a little bit, or maybe the phrasing. And so I said, did you go to like an urgent care or an ER or anything? And I'm like, what did he swallow? Because like he swallowed something he shouldn't have. And I didn't get like what the item was. And so then I said, well, it's 911. And now at this point, the lady comes back and she's pointing her finger and like mad and yelling about it. And so
is she related to them, or this is just
no, she's not. She just happened to be across the way, and I think he had gone out to his car or something and had the baby, and so she kind of intervened herself there.
Right.
So
she's basically yelling, call 911,
Well, she was mad at him, it seemed like. That's what was throwing me all off. And I was sensing like something more was going on here. So she was like, next time that something happens like that, just, go to the doctor or call 911. And she storms off and I'm like, what? So I said, just call 911. It's just the best thing to do because I'm confused as to what the heck is going on. But he was like, please stay here. And I was like, sure. So I do. And on my phone, I have notifications for the local fire and PD, for the neighborhood. And so one pops up and it says there's an accident on the freeway. And I go, well, that's odd because this guy just called 911. I would have thought it would have popped up, but okay, whatever, no biggie. And then sure enough, they arrive right after that notification. Now, mind you, my son is very interested in fire.
Right.
And since he was 3 years old, has been monitoring and listening to them speaking.
Right.
He is not home at the moment. And yet he got his notification. And I'm thinking as I'm waiting for the fire trucks to arrive, I got to take a picture and send it to him. He's going to get all upset. He's not home for this because this is now the second time in our neighborhood he's not been home.
Oh my goodness.
So now here we go. Boom, here comes the text straight from him. I go, how in the heck did he know? The fire trucks were rolling up right then, and here his ears. And he's like, are you home? I need you to answer right now. And I'm just laughing because he's so mad. So I snapped some pics and I did send them to him, but I also did some video when they were backing out because it's very tight in here for the big fire trucks to maneuver. So they roll on in, and I was standing there with the father and this baby, and I was trying to entertain the little 3-year-old they have, and they jump right out and they take the baby from him and start asking questions and stuff. And there were about 6 guys, and there was a fire truck and the ambulance.
And the other lady's gone, right? That other lady.
And the mom is not home. And I'm asking, where's the mom? Like,
right.
Maybe. And he's like, I've been trying to call her. I don't know. And she was supposed to be home by now. She's not home. And then turns out she has an older phone. Her phone dies all the time. He kind of rolled his eyes like, that's probably what it is. And so he had the look of sheer panic and fear in his face, and didn't know what to do. Now, I had been in my house for a good hour before, hearing this crying going on. I thought it was coming from somewhere else. I didn't know it was coming from there. So
and
now
this was a baby.
Yeah, and so now I'm going, this has really gone on a long time. And in talking with the different medical workers, I guess we call them, I don't know what they were exactly, but they're the EMT of the fire.
Right.
They said, what did he swallow? And I'm going, yeah, what is it? And I missed what he called it, and they were kind of confused as to what he said, and I'm not sure if that was a language thing or not. But there was arts and crafts and like a sewing machine and whatnot set up on his table inside his house, which was really nice. And it was all very, clean and everything in there.
It was nothing like a needle or anything, right? Because that would have been way worse.
Right. And so it was like you just wouldn't think stuff would be on the floor for this kid to pick up.
Right.
And something had just gotten knocked off, and he went to go get it and couldn't find it, and then realized because the baby was showing signs of, eating it.
Right.
So that's when I guess he started to panic about it. But it was like it was a sewing thing that had sharp edges, like attachment to a sewing machine piece or something like that. Because then he was showing like about how big and where it went and whatnot to them. They were saying that the baby's throat was very red. He said, well, yes, he'd had a cold earlier. And so as soon as he said that, I kid you not, everybody stepped back. Like, uh-oh, COVID. And immediately they start to ask about, are you sure it's not COVID? And he kind of was like flustered, but like knew this was coming, and grabbed this piece of paper that he had and goes, here, it's dated and everything. Nobody has COVID here. But I was trying not to laugh.
I can't even believe that.
Well, because I'm going, oh my gosh, in the middle of all this, and like everybody went, step back. So
you actually saw that? They literally like stepped back and was like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean,
my God.
You just felt like that because we're all really tight knit at that point in like a circle. So
it's unbelievable.
They're going to need to basically give the baby, anesthesia and go down his throat because it's most likely lodged in there, but not in a choking capacity. And it can't go through his body and come out the other side. It's not going to work out. And to bring it back up, it could do damage as well. And the father was saying, he's getting worse with his breathing than better.
Right.
So they said, we need to just take him. So they loaded the baby up in the ambulance, and then the dad, I helped him get the younger child into the car, put on jackets, that whole kind of thing. And he was grabbing all of his stuff. And I said, just make sure you try and, call your wife again while you're there. She's eventually going to come home. And sometimes, people forget. And I feel bad for her because she has no idea she's going to come home. Where the heck is everybody? Wow. And so, kind of scary there. And so I'm hoping everything goes okay. And I don't know what, really is going on there. But after they were doing all that, I kind of stepped back, and another neighbor, I call him Mr. Cowboy because he wears a cowboy hat all the time, and I don't know his name.
So he's Mr. Cowboy?
Yeah.
You always come up with such dramatic things. Like you always have like this name for somebody rather than their real name.
I do. I have nicknames for people. I have other words for things. I've been that way since forever. So Cowboy comes by, and I'll say it very naturally, like everybody's supposed to know. And he's always in the know of what goes on. He's like the one neighbor that knows everything that's happening everywhere. Right. So I go over to him and I'm like, so what do you think's going on? Even though I'm more involved at this point than him. But
it sounded at first like this could have been like a domestic violence thing, and the babies were screaming, and like the lady was the mother yelling, or like maybe a grandmother yelling. Right. That's what it seemed like at first.
He was saying, well, I guess those two women they live in yet another building across from them. Cowboy lives 2 doors down from these folks. These folks moved in at the beginning of the year. They're renting this unit. And so there's been about 4 calls this whole year where police and fire have shown up for those 2 buildings. And I'm not sure why or what's going on over there, but he said that the one lady he thought was a friend of the other woman who actually lived there, where the anger was coming from. And he goes, I don't know why they're mad. He goes, like, that threw him off as well. Only thing he could think of was that the father was stalling a little bit because the police had been to their home before, and he had heard them saying, like, calling for this kind of stuff isn't necessary. This is going to become a problem. You could get into trouble for doing this type of a thing, or if there's too many calls that are BS calls, something to that effect. The language barrier, and he's from another country. He was afraid. He wasn't sure what's the protocol. And he had been on the phone initially with the pediatrician, the doctor's office that they go to, but it was right at that time he got put on hold and was on hold for a long time. And it clicked over because the time changed to whatever magical time they closed down, and they said, we are now closed. So that's the point he panicked because he knew that his baby wasn't currently choking. So which entity does he go to? Because he didn't want to get into trouble with calling, for not a right reason. So that's why I think the women were maybe mad, because they maybe didn't understand the hesitation, or why would you ask, or I don't know because I don't know what happened at that part. So that was our guess as to what went on at that part of it. But he was super nice and thanked me and appreciated all of the help and stuff that it was doing for him, and just getting his other child in the car.
You being there probably just totally calmed him down, from a certain high level. You probably brought him down to a little bit of a reality, because when you're in a situation like that, sometimes people panic and they're all like, they don't know what to do. They're all like freaked out and frazzled. And you being there, it seems like you helped them kind of calm and get things moving the way they should be in the order. You know what I mean? Like in a
right. And you gave him, I think, the reassurance that you know you can call 911. Just do it. Like that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, this is necessary at this point.
Right. And so obviously, I'm an American from here, and I'm saying yes, it's fine. Like okay. Like, he instantly was happy about doing it.
Right.
So, and then I was sort of telling him what to do, and I was like pointing his shoes for the kid. And he was like, right. So
right.
So sort of that helps sometimes, I think, get people going, because your mind's going a million directions at once.
Plus, there was another child that had to be taken care of, and
your baby just goes off in an ambulance by themselves, like
right. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I would have lost my mind. Wow.
So, but luckily, our hospital is like 4 blocks away, so it's not a very far trip at all. So that'll be good for when they're coming home. But I hope it goes well, and I hope they don't have any further issues. And
let's all say a prayer for this child, that everything's okay and his breathing is okay. They get whatever it is that's lodged inside his throat out with no damages.
Right.
And that he's okay. He's okay. And we'll update everybody on, what happens to the baby. And hopefully everything will be fine.
I'm going to go tomorrow and kind of walk back and forth and try and see. Like, I don't want to wake anybody up early or anything.
Right. But you just
see what's going on and check
make yourself known a little bit. So, hey, I'm right here. You need to
hello.
How'd it go? How's the baby?
Just checking. Do you need anything?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you can knock on the door and see if he needs anything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I will eventually. I just don't know how late they may be up or out and, napping and that kind of stuff. I remember when I had 2 little ones, sometimes that door went off. You were like, I'm going to kill that person.
Yeah. Especially when you just get them laid down. Doesn't matter what time it is. It could be like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If they just went to sleep, I'm going to kill you. Whoever's at the door is gone.
Right.
You're a goner.
We used to all tape up our doorbells.
Oh, really?
Tons of tape. So there was no ability to push the button. Knockers all got unscrewed off of doors. And then a big sign would go up and say, do not make any noise. Do not knock. You're not that important.
You're not that important. And rather than saying babies are sleeping, you put you're not that important.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Kendra, you're a trip. You are a trip. Wow. Well, I hate to be laughing right now. Still, I feel like the baby's gonna be okay.
Yeah, I do too. I hope so. I hope their whole situation is okay and it's worked out easily. It's got to be scary. And
yeah, it's a scare as it is.
Imagine being in another country that's not your native. And it's amazing sometimes to me how into the system people can get and manage to go through it, and all the stuff we have to support that. And then they get yelled at for doing it wrong. Like, it is not easy. I can't follow it. And I worked in it as a social worker.
Yeah, it's got to be hard to not know. Like, when you have a serious, for instance, let's just say, because originally we were saying we didn't know if it was a domestic thing or we had no idea, but
right.
The police have been there before. You knew that,
Right.
So you didn't know what it was. And so imagine being there, having, the cops have been at your house before, and who knows exactly what was said to him or how he took it.
Right.
And he's sitting there and his child is barely breathing,
right.
And you're thinking how, okay, now the doctor just put me on I can't believe the doctor put them on hold, the doctor's office.
I know.
Put them on hold for that long with a choking child. Well, or a half breathing child, you know what I mean?
Right.
So, and you're, what are you supposed to do? Thank God you were there, Kendra, honestly, because you gave him that push, that he needed to just be like, look, this is done. It's done. You got to go. You got to call them.
Yeah, and it's easy for me because I can just go into social work mode, and
right.
I'm a designated reporter for children. I'm mandated, so then and Mr. Cowboy knows that, and we got into that for a minute, and he's like, "Well, next time we're all just gonna run to your door." I was like, "Well, okay."
Oh, look what you just invited in now.
Yeah.
You better put that sign back up. You're not that important.
Yeah, my rabbits might be napping now.
Yeah, right. All those rabbits and hamsters that you got over there. Wow. Okay, well, again, let's pray for this baby that everything's okay, and we will update you as soon as we know anything.
Okay.
And have a great night, everybody. Please pray for this child. Bye-bye.
Bye.